Welcome to BRR Media. Today I'm joined by John Barr, the Executive Chairman of Mosman Oil and Gas. John, it's great to have you with us today.
Nice to see you again, Rosie.
Now, John, at the beginning of the year, you put in some fairly stringent measures with the effects of coronavirus, etc., which are now actually seeming to bear fruit. Can you elaborate on that for us?
I can. It was back in March, we looked at the company in the COVID environment, and it was not a pretty picture when we looked at the oil price, which was in fact negative for a period of time, and the gas prices fell. And I think a number of small companies were wondering whether they were going to be here in 12 months' time. So Andy and I, who are the two executives in the company, stood back and looked at everything. We culled all the costs that we could cull. We went on half pay effectively, with the balance to be satisfied in shares, which comes up at the AGM for shareholder consideration. We focused the production wells on actually getting cash as opposed to just driving a production number. And that worked quite well. And then we decided to raise money to drill, pay for our share of the drill of the Stanley 4 well. And more recently, we've raised money to fund our share of the Falcon-1 well.
So, John, talk us through the Falcon-1 results and also what's next for Falcon.
Okay, that's a pleasurable experience. So we raised money for Falcon. We didn't like the price, but we were forced to do it because we believed that Falcon was so important. We finished about 4 weeks ago. Now it's bigger all round for Mosman, so we own more of this well. We have 50%. It's a deeper well, 7,500 feet. It's just generally a step upwards in every respect from Mosman's perspective. So the well has produced in a flow test situation quite a bit of gas and also condensate coming out of the gas. And those numbers are quite impressive. As such, they've been published now. So we're heading to production, basically.
So yeah, talk us through the next steps towards production.
Oh, okay. Well, the next steps are we've got to connect the Falcon well to a gas pipeline, which is actually quite closely nearby, and that's one of the reasons why we chose Falcon as the first well. So that's happening at the moment. Obviously, it's Thanksgiving in America this week, so not much is going to happen. There's tankies being put in for the condensate that will come out of the gas. As such, so we have a collection point. The well's cased, the wellhead is on, and we're basically heading to production very quickly. So we're doing a sales contract to sell the gas, and that goes down to the Henry Hub, closer to the coast. And that's an existing gas line which is owned by a third party, but happy that we use it and just pay a tariff for it. And we would hope, we don't have an exact time, and obviously, as I said, Thanksgiving in the middle here affects things, but we would hope that within a month we'll be online, fully operational, and starting to look at revenue checks.
And so talk about other areas of the company, what we can expect to hear next there.
Well, Falcon is so significant, it's actually going to be a game changer for Mosman as such. The next step is not far away. We have the next well, which we're looking at, which is called Galaxy. We own 60% of the Galaxy project. There are targets identified by our partners, Barr, who do our technical 3D seismic work as such. And they have an interest in the well, and so does Howard McLaughlin, who is our US manager and operations manager for the project. So we're hoping to get the Galaxy well drilled soon, but it's sort of, we've got to get Falcon done and going and moving forward. because that proves concepts as such. And then we'll move to drilling Galaxy. So there's still a bit of work to do. There's a drill pad there and there's roads in, but we've got to work out the logistics of getting the gas into a pipeline. There's a third party there that does have some gas equipment, and we don't know whether we can use that or whether we can buy that equipment right now. So there's a bit of work to do to get Galaxy to the point of drilling, but I think it all looks good. So that could mean by, it's difficult to even put a date on it, but say the end of the first quarter next year, we could have 2 producing wells in that region. But in the background of all of that, we are still producing it at Stanley. One of the Stanley wells is going to be put on to artificial lift, which is fairly standard as wells get older in this area. We've just done a workover at the Duff well, which is in the Greater Stanley area, which is right next door to the main Stanley project, and we don't have the results of that. We are looking at selling the Welch project, and there's a bit of interest in that, so we've got to conclude that. We've got issues, we've got to sell Arcoma, but there's issues to sort out before we can do that. And then in Australia, we've got the Amadeus Basin, which is really a very important project. We're surrounded by Central Petroleum and also the Santos joint venture. There's quite a lot of interest in that area at the moment because there is helium potentially involved. And we're just taking that quite simply, step by step is the only way I can describe it. We have had a problem that during COVID, there was a ban put on attending sites to protect the local Indigenous communities who are susceptible to those sorts of viruses. And we support that ban as the correct thing to do. But hopefully that ban will come off soon and we can get back to getting on the ground and doing work. So there's a lot happening.
So John, can I just ask you to comment on your cash position looking forward, please?
Yes, well, cash is fine. We've got about 1.5 million Australian in the bank today. We will get money in from the sale of the Welch project. We'll get money in from the sale of the remaining Mosman capital, silver shares, beg your pardon. And we will soon be getting income in from Falcon, which is not small by any means. So yes, the cash position is solid.
And John, finally, can you talk us through your key objectives for next year going into 2021?
Well, hopefully it won't be as tough as 2020. It's been a pretty tough year for everyone, I think, in business as such. Our plans are to certainly get Galaxy drilled, sell Welch, try and sell Arcoma, to try and get further exploration done in the Amadeus Basin, keep production up as strong as we can at the Stanley project, albeit we're not the operator there, so we only have limited influence with that. And then probably, I think in the second half of next year, we'd be looking at a third well in the Falcon Galaxy area. It all depends a bit on the first well, on the second well, on the third well, and depends on gas prices as the year progresses.
Well, John, thank you very much for the update today. Great to speak to you and look forward to catching up and hearing more about Mosman in the future.
Well, hopefully we can meet face to face in the next 6 months in a non-COVID environment. And I'd love to do that to all my shareholders, to actually meet them again in public forums, but it's just been so difficult. I would say to any shareholder that's watching this, feel free to email the board. We always respond to emails. Very happy to communicate with shareholders, but it is just a fairly tough environment for everyone at the moment, unfortunately.